Welcome to my latest video for the Coaching Chronicles. My name is Mike and today we'll be discussing parents. Now, just to save any confusion, I won't be talking about my parents, as they're not that interesting. I'll be talking about the parents in any sports team. Now, due to the amount of content to cover, I've decided to split this across two videos, with my second video talking about the top 5 mistakes parents can potentially make with their children. So keep an eye out for that one, that'll be arriving shortly. I have 16 lads in my team currently signed on, so I've gained a lot of experience of interacting with parents in various situations, and I hope this video helps you gain some confidence on how to talk and interact with your parents. Now, in today's video, I'll be talking about the parents within my team, the relationship I believe you should have with the parents in your team, how I interact with parents in my team, past and present, how to handle negative interactions, and I'll be highlighting some parent traits you're most likely to see at training or on match days. The parents within my team are a diverse group of people from various walks of life, but we all have the one common goal, which is to see our boys and the team succeed. Now, I'd be lying if I said we got on like a house on fire throughout our entire time together, but all in all, they are a good bunch and loyal. It's taken nearly 5 years, but I feel I've weeded out all the parents who didn't want to be with the team, and I've now been left with the cream of the crop. Now, loyalty is something I value very highly, and of course I don't take it for granted. So for all my parents out there watching this video, thank you for your continued support and your loyalty. How I interact with the parents in my team. So when interacting with the parents in my team, it is something that I'm constantly working on in order to improve my communication. And when I do speak to parents, I am mindful not to cause any upset or to offend, as you certainly don't want that. It is important to understand that different parents prefer to be spoken to in different ways. So what I mean by that is that you may speak to one parent in one way, but this isn't necessarily the right way to speak to another parent. So again, something to be mindful of in your interactions. Now, when I first started the team, I was a people pleaser. You have to be, as you need kids to start the team, and you're not going to achieve that by upsetting a parent on the first opportunity you get. When starting a new team, your decisions need to be purely in the benefit of the whole team and ensure that nobody is impacted negatively. Over time, as the team becomes more settled, your interactions with parents will flow more naturally. Now, depending on your circumstances, you may come across a situation where you have to make a decision that is in the interests of the team overall, but may impact a player negatively. By maintaining a good relationship, when you have to break that bad news or make that hard decision, you would have built up a good enough relationship so that for there to be little to no loss of confidence in your ability as a manager. Negative interactions. As a youth team coach, you are going to make mistakes. I certainly have, and a prime example of a mistake I've made in the past is where I've given one child more playing time over another. Now, it wasn't intentional, and I will always look to make it back up to the child that's been affected at the next available opportunity. But when this happens, a parent can approach you, and it can be quite daunting, especially if it's your first time of being approached, and they will ask you why. Now, it can be quite daunting at first, and if ever a parent does want to speak to you about the issue, I would plead with you, do not engage in the conversation until you've considered a number of factors. 1. Should this be a private conversation, as you need to be mindful who can overhear your conversation? Number 2. Is it an appropriate time to talk? You might be in the middle of training or in the middle of a match, and if a parent is indeed talking to you, they may not have your full attention. Number 3. Are you replying to a message on social media? The words you say may be taken out of context, and therefore it may be worth considering arranging a face-to-face conversation to discuss the issue. Number 4, and most importantly, this is not a conversation you want to have in front of players. So be aware of your surroundings, make sure that the conversation is private and that players cannot overhear what's being said. When it comes to discussing the issue, once you're in a safe and controlled environment, ensure that you listen to all the points that are being raised to make sure you understand. Ask any questions if necessary to clarify understanding. Apologise if appropriate. And if you are confident that you can resolve the issue there and then by all means do. If for whatever reason you're not able to resolve the issue, then discuss with the parent and set a realistic timescale as to when you'd like to revisit the issue, hopefully with a resolution or at least an update. Make sure the parent is happy with the steps that you're taking and invite them to ask any questions with regards to the steps you're taking. So let's go through some of the typical parent traits that you'll see during training and match days. I'm sure as coaches and parents within a sports team, you would have at least experienced one of these. The parent coach. So this would be a parent who on a match day, you'll see running up and down the sidelines, barking out instructions to their child. The positive traits of a parent coach is that they are generally quite enthusiastic, so they also give a lot of encouragement to the whole team, which is always a positive. But they do have a tendency to potentially give out contradictory coaching to their child, and in turn that can confuse them. If you are a parent watching this video and can relate to this trait, just remember, you trusted the coach with your child's development. Let them do their job. Always late parents. So in every team there is always one parent that no matter what will turn up late. Now I consider myself a punctual type of person, and my philosophy is early, on time is late. So you can only imagine the frustration it is dealing with these types of parents. On a match day, I'll ask my parents to be there no later than 30 minutes prior to kickoff, as it gives me enough time to warm the players up and complete my pre-match rituals. But there was one parent who was constantly turning up late, so I thought I'd employ a tactic where I asked them to turn up 45 minutes before kickoff. We trialled it for 1 week, and unfortunately it backfired, as they did indeed turn up 45 minutes early. They saw that nobody was there, so they turned around and went home. Oddly enough, I've never used that tactic since. There is nothing more frustrating than having a child turn up late to training. Now, the reason for that is that by the time they've turned up, the session could be already in full swing, and therefore I'd have to stop training and explain to the child the session aims so that they can successfully participate. And having to explain on a second occasion means that it may not be as robust than when I explained it to the whole team, so they kind of are hindered by that. If you are a parent that finds themselves turning up late more frequently, then I plead with you, please make more of an effort to get your child to training at least on time. The always early parents. So I have two parents who I know that when I get to the venue or get to training, they'll be there waiting for me. They are a coach's dream, and if they're watching this video, I want to recognise them and thank them for making my life a lot easier. Cliques. So a clique is a group of parents who will interact with each other more frequently than with other parents. And more often than not, they socialise as well outside of club events. So in my experience of dealing with cliques is they can be perceived as a negative influence on a team. They're also perceived to be bitching about people and talking behind people's backs and finding faults with how a club is run, but yet they rarely bring that to the coach's attention. Now, whereas I don't condone that sort of action, I believe you should approach cliques with an open mind, as they shouldn't be pigeonholed in that way. In any social group, you're always going to have a group of parents that have a lot more in common than with other parents. It's just the way of life. So a suggestion I have, if you do have a potentially negative clique in your team, is to appoint a parent liaison. So a parent liaison would work in the following. They would go around to parents collating feedback to give to the coach. It helps control the flow of feedback, making sure it remains as positive as possible. And also there are parents out there that no matter what are still shy and are not able to approach the coach. So they can use the parent liaison to pass on their feedback. I personally do not currently have a parent liaison, as I don't feel the need for one. I have quite an open relationship with my parents, but don't let that deter you from employing one in your team. And if you feel the need for one, then of course, take a vote or ask for volunteers and, give it a go. The question I asked in my previous video was, there are 4 teams who have won the top division 3 times in a row. Can you name them? The answer is Arsenal. Oh, pardon me, don't know where that come from. Huddersfield, Liverpool and Man United. And yes, Huddersfield surprised me too, but there was life before the Premier League. So that brings me on to the question for this video. And the question is as follows. Which player has won the most FA Cup winners' medals? So which player has won the most FA Cup winners' medals? If you know the answer, pop it in the comment section below and I'll give a bonus point if you can tell me how many he won. So thank you for watching my video, and if you have enjoyed, please like and subscribe to my channel, The Coaching Chronicles, and I look forward to seeing you on my next video.